If we stand together, we'll never fall. We can make a difference and answer the call.
Hey, good morning and welcome back to another episode of the All Around Growth Podcast, a show that provides insight and tools to build the life and homestead of your dreams. My name is Rob Kaiser and I am your host. It is Monday, March 28th, 2022. This is episode number 314 of the show. And today is Monday, and it is a Motivational Monday. And normally we would draw from one of the devotionals that we would normally read, but I figured to mix it up, I would also throw in a Men of Order Monday every now and then. So today we are going to take a look at the trending topics on menoforder.com. There are 5 featured articles there, one of which is the ancient self-brainwashing dragon technique, 5 natural aphrodisiacs that'll have her begging for more, 6 exercises to optimize your masculinity, Leah Thomas, men and women are equal, and Babylon Bee, censored by Twitter. You know, we're going to get into some Twitter topics tomorrow, and I am interested in this article, which I've not read yet, but the ancient self-brainwashing dragon technique. That is an article written by Bryan Sharpe, and I will link to this in the show notes. It's a 3-minute read, and I might just breeze through this real quick before I hit the road. It's 8:08 a.m. I've been up since 6 a.m., mostly solving chess puzzles, reading forbidden books, and spamming social media with my presence. Anyway, in observing my behavior yesterday, I stumbled upon the secret which I will impart upon you today. The question most writers struggle with is, what should I write about? Now imagine sitting at your computer, staring at your blank screen and trying to think of something to write about. Fail. That's not how it's done, my Padawan. My preparation for the next day's writing is done the day before. It either happens spontaneously or is premeditated. I add in the thought to my task app, and when I rise in Brandon's America the next AM, I simply need to expand upon the thoughts of the day before. Easy. But it's not the ancient self-brainwashing dragon technique. When I thought about today's topic, it got me thinking of something else I do. I plant thoughts into my head as I fall asleep. I bury them inside my subconscious, or as Jung would put it, the unconscious mind. If you've seen the movie Inception, I practice something similar. I visualize myself walking through a doorway. This doorway represents the portal between my conscious and subconscious mind, and I deliver a message. Let's say I want bigger arms. I'll lay down in bed, place my hands across my navel, take 7 deep and slow breaths, then begin my visualization. I visualize myself sitting at an ancient wooden desk inside my mystic lair, dipping my quill into its inkwell. Then I begin writing on papyrus. The texture of the papyrus will activate the cutaneous receptors in my hands. The point I'm trying to make here is, the more I visualize and experience this virtual environment, the more effective the brainwashing will be. Quote, what the conscious mind can conceive, the subconscious mind will believe. Bryan Sharpe. For example, I visualize myself in mystic-like robes. A white candle dripping wax on the corner of my desk sets the stage for a dancing flame. The scent of the oak interior stimulates my olfactory system. Anyway, I began writing the message which I intend to commit to the unconscious mind. I literally handwrite the message in my mind and whatever other thoughts that generally come to my mind to add some depth and fullness to my intentions. Then I roll up the papyrus sheet like a scroll and enter the doorway to my subconscious mind. As I walk through the portal, the other side is filled with darkness. I walk until I meet my, quote, other self, close quote, which is the astral body version of me. See figure 1 to understand, which is a Dr. Strange's astral body figure. I hand the scroll to my astral body and it slowly dissipates. When it is fully gone from my vision, I sit legs crossed yoga monk style and meditate until I fall asleep. This is all still visualization. In the physical world, I'm lying in my bed, awaiting sleep to take over. The next morning, what do you think is the first thing that comes to mind? The message which I gave myself, of course, but with it comes vigor and purpose. This is the ancient self-brainwashing dragon technique, which I use to keep myself aligned with greatness. If you enjoyed this, then you should read my manifesto on masculinity. And guys, I will link to this article in the show notes. And the reason I decided to mix it up with Men of Order Mondays instead of Motivational Mondays is because this too is motivational content. I have been contributing for several months to Men of Order, and it is something I was a little reluctant to contribute to in the first place based on everything that I've got going on, in addition to the fact that it's challenging for me to make these team Zoom calls with regularity, but I'm doing the best that I can. And I think that there is a lot of good content there. Anything from money, dating, culture, tech, mindset. And recently there's been a new development where Jev, otherwise known as Hotep Maximus on Twitter, is breaking down episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience with timestamps and everything so that they are very easy to reference and listen to and extract information from, because those of you who listen to the Joe Rogan Experience know that these long-form podcasts are oftentimes difficult to take in their entirety. And I can do it. I choose not to. But the reality is I don't listen to a whole lot of podcasts myself anymore. There are a few that I tune into periodically, but the reality is there is simply a wealth of content being created out there, and it's difficult to keep up with everything. With that said, this article and everything else at Men of Order is something that is definitely worth keeping up with. Now, this was kind of a last minute move to mix it up. I thought about this and even maybe mentioned it in a podcast earlier in the week or even yesterday. I'm not even sure. And I have the Rudder of the day in front of me, and there was something that I read in here, and I wasn't really feeling it this morning. But then as I was walking towards the truck, I thought, okay, there's my hook. And I thought, nope, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move with Men of Order Mondays instead of the Motivational Mondays with Rudder of the Day. Now, what's interesting is that Bryan's article is about this self-brainwashing technique. Okay? Now, in the Rudder of the Day, the title of The reading that I was going to read today on page 44 and 45 of the book is called Sew Up Your Buttonholes. And at the very end, as I approach the stop sign, I'll share this last paragraph with you. So my advice is, sew up some buttonholes in your life. Drive a different route home from work. Read a book you would not normally read. Write your name with the hand opposite your normal dominance to see how it wakes up your brain. Takes time to stop and help a stranded motorist. Volunteer to help on a community project and welcome the unexpected, quote, closed buttonholes this week. You may be surprised at having your brain turn on. Who knows what creative ideas or solutions you may discover. You may even brighten up your face. Quote, research shows that 90% of 5-year-olds are creative, but only 2% of adults are, close quote. Lee Lober. All right, so that and some other things in today's reading from the Rudder of the Day got me thinking about The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, something that I've referenced before many a time, and I will again link to it in the show notes, because this ancient self-brainwashing technique that Bryan Sharpe wrote about in Men of Order, the idea that 95% of 5-year-olds are creative, but only 2% of adults are. Why? We can rediscover our creativity as adults if we unlock our minds. And how do we unlock our minds? How do we rediscover this creativity? Well, reprogram, repattern, brainwash yourself. You know, the brainwashing, it takes place daily. We just aren't aware of it. We're constantly being programmed. We're constantly being brainwashed. We're constantly being exposed to material that they want you to believe, because there is a certain way that they want you to be, to comply, to obey. Kind of lost my train of thought there as I refrained from going on a little bit of a rant, but repattern and reprogram, the ancient self-brainwashing dragon technique that Bryan spoke of, allows him to keep himself aligned with greatness. This book, The Rudder of the Day, the 2022 goal setting guide, also by Dan Miller, and the 48 Days Eagles community, has allowed me to align myself with greatness. Men of Order and contributing articles, initially in a series based on the 2022 goal setting workbook, is allowing me to further expand on ideas that will keep myself aligned with greatness, much like the brainwashing technique that Bryan wrote about that does the same for him. And guys, the strangest secret is perhaps the best way to start with some sort of brainwashing process. I would definitely encourage you to try a deep visualization technique like Bryan outlined. Give it a shot. Sometimes those types of techniques are difficult, and if you find it difficult, then start with something easy. Start with the strangest secret. Let that play in the background. Let it play in the background while you're working out. Let it play in the background while you're doing chores. Let it play in the background while you're going about your morning routine. Just let it play in the background and become part of your subconscious. And what will happen is you will understand that you literally do become what you think about. All right, guys, it is, as you can hear by the bumps and the background noise, I'm pulling in here to the tree farm. It is a chilly 19 degrees, or at least it was when I left the farm when I left the farm and homestead this morning. It feels weird to talk about the farm and homestead at home when I come to a farm for the day job, but this is an entirely different kind of farm, more of a commercial type of operation, whereas we are literally building something from scratch. But there's a lot of work to do outside today. It's going to be a chilly one, and I can't say I'm looking forward to it. So anyways, guys, if you like what you hear, please check out the show notes, and I would encourage you to spread the word on social media. Spread the word with friends and family, those who you might think would benefit from what we have to say here as well. And also, I would encourage you and everyone out there to join the community at t.me/allaroundgrowth. That is where we are talking the most. That is where we are most active. But on social media, we are on Float, Twitter, Telegram, Facebook, and yeah, we now have a MeWe group. So if you are on MeWe, check us out there. There is a MeWe community, and learning how to navigate that. So guys, that's it for today. Hopefully you found this Monday show motivational and of value. I hope you have a great rest of the week. This is Rob Kaiser, and thank you.